We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Better than beautiful.
Welcome, coming to you live from the studios of LA Talk Live in sunny Los Angeles, California. This is Alayna's Beauty Talk and more, and I'm your host, Alayna. We're here to talk about beauty and more in all its expressions every Wednesday at noon Pacific time. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. This is Alayna's Beauty Talk and more on LA Talk Live. We're more than just talk.
Love, I found it. Ended up with my heart and soul. About time that you know. If you just believe and see like I see, you'll know that the world is yours to own. Just follow my lead beyond material things. It's time to let you know you're better than beautiful. You're better than beautiful.
Hubert's Lemonade, tasty, refreshing, sweet, and tart. Happiness in a bottle. Visit Hubert's Lemonade at hubertslemonade.com. Once again, that's hubertslemonade.com. Happiness in a bottle. Xavier Tees and Tots, groundbreaking fashion, forward street smart designs. Tees and Tots for men, women, and boys. Visit xavierusa.com. Once again, that's xavierusa.com.
Young Connection, your one-stop connection for all your graphic design and commercial printing needs. Young Connection is a full-service printing and media design company dedicated to providing the highest level of customer service and satisfaction. Young Connection provides swift response and rapid turnaround services for banners, brochures, business cards, letterheads, church bulletins, funeral programs, flyers, logo design, posters, and much, much more, all at an affordable price. Young Connection, the official printing company of LA Talk Live. Give them a call at 310-491-3336. That's 310-491-3336, or visit their website at www.youngconnection.com. That's www.youngconnection.com. Young Connection Printing and Media Services, proud sponsors of LA Talk Live, where it's more than just talk.
Better than beautiful.
Welcome back to Alayna's Beauty Talk and more. Oh my God, this is going to be such a fun show. I have two of the best trainers in LA on the show with me today. They've been on the show since almost my very beginning of LA Talk Live show, Alayna's Beauty Talk. And we're going to be talking all about summertime workouts because we get so many questions. How do I get a flat stomach? How do I get my arms to look better? My legs, my back. So basically the whole body.
Basically the whole body. Yeah, exactly. How do you get the total package?
How do you get the total package? No matter where you are now, what you have to do to get in shape and stay in shape. They've been training people in competition for a long time, and they both have tons and tons of information, and they still do their training and their coaching today. So welcome, Carla.
Thank you,
Kadode.
Alayna.
Kadode?
Yes,
I
correct.
got it, yes. And sitting next to her is our good friend, Tim Roberts.
Hi, Alayna.
Hi, Tim. I'm so glad to have you guys back on the show because we can give out such good information from the heart because we live it.
It is nice.
You know, we're not just standing there on the sidelines training people. We actually do it day in, day out, 24/7.
Well, I mean, I would hope most people that are in the industry to be in it for a long time are willing to understand that there's so much to learn. You know, first and foremost, I mean, I know there's a few buddies of mine who had just kind of got into it, and they're exclaiming that they're a master trainer and this and that, and it's cute and all, but I mean, to be 100% honest in anything that you do, you should be willing to accept that you don't really know. You can never know it all.
You can't. It,
You know.
it changes daily,
Yeah.
and every person that you train or that you come across has different issues and can do different
Absolutely.
things. Not everybody's body is the same. What works for me isn't necessarily going to work for Carla, from our build to our age to our endurance.
Yep.
I mean,
I agree.
there's no one style fits all.
Exactly. It takes a good trainer, and I think Carla could agree too that after training for a long time, it is coming across all these different types of people that helps formulate your experience, helps make you a better trainer. And other trainers will come up to you and say, "Hey, I have a client that I know you're familiar with what goes on. How can I help them?" You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because now that I have a couple more clients, what works for one doesn't necessarily work for the other. They go, "Ooh, I don't like that."
That's the fun part. I think that's so fun. Just seeing how for one person, I mean, I have a this is such a cool dynamic, is I have a 71-year-old client who enjoys, doing circuits and conditioning, and will intermittently go from doing strength training to cardio 4, 5, 6 times in their workout, right? But then I have people that are in their 20s where I put them through a circuit that's very similar to like the conditioning stuff that they do in the movies, and they can barely handle it, and they're not having a good time at all.
Yeah, you can see them, like, they get these weird looks on their faces.
It's
Yeah.
I call it game face.
Oh, is that what you call
Well,
it? I'm
because
like,
it sounds
ooh.
cool, but in reality, their face is crazy.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, you don't like that.
No,
You
no.
can see it if somebody doesn't like an exercise. Oh man, you can see it in their face immediately.
Or the unique expressions of people when they're exerting a lot of force. That is very, especially when you're doing cardio, Carla. You ever people watch and you see the people lifting?
Or even myself. My God.
Yeah.
That's why I have a hat on so nobody can see my face, because I'm just like pouring sweat, veins popping out of your head.
That's why we like you so much, Carla. You can laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
It's all good.
You have to,
Yeah.
That's why I always laugh. I go, gosh, because especially in LA, I go, when I see girls with tons of makeup at the gym, I go, I don't know how any of you could do it, because within 5 minutes, I would look far worse.
Well, they got
Yeah.
confused because it says LA Fitness Club, and they're thinking, well, then in that case, yeah.
No,
But I
agree.
think you should wear a little bit of makeup. I don't think you should just look kind of dad.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking about
Full makeup, full makeup.
everything.
Yeah.
Well, I've had, even working out there, I've even had a few females in the beginning where they would show up to train with me like that. After about 2-3 sessions, they realize and they just give up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to.
It's
Yeah.
almost more of a goal for me. Like, okay, you're coming in full face of makeup. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to show you what really working out is like. Because if you can maintain that face the whole time, you're not going hard enough.
Yeah.
Well, and plus, when you perspire and when you're hot, your pores are more open than they ever have been.
And especially
Absolutely.
through the
And-
summer now, no
Yep.
matter how air conditioned the gym is,
Yes.
it's
Yep.
hot.
Oh,
yeah,
no
I
doubt,
know.
no doubt. And for a lot of women, I mean, I know that, I don't know personally, but I know that there are some very expensive brands that they could be using that they're not. So they have this makeup on their face, and as they train and as they go through their workout, it's really getting absorbed inside their skin, and they're wondering why they're breaking out, this and that. And yeah, it's the sweat, but it's the sweat in combination with almost
Yeah.
like an artificial dirt.
Yeah.
You know?
So you have to pick and choose what works.
I think Carla, do you ever carry like wipes with you, like makeup wipes?
I do. I usually just carry around literally oil blotting things is the best thing for me, or just literally an iridescent powder, just something I can put on.
Yeah.
I'll put on
There you
makeup.
go.
Like usually I like mineral stuff, but the thing is, especially I'm prone to breaking out, and so in the summer I sweat more. I have to be careful, and especially if I just if I don't drink as much water, even for a day, that's when I notice, because my body needs to flush and flush and flush
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
And
You
that's
know
the
what? Let's
biggest
talk
thing.
about water. I get a lot of questions about water. How much? I don't think unless it's in excess, you can drink too much water through the summer.
I mean, as long as you're going to the bathroom, you can really drink water virtually all day long.
Yeah.
And a good rule of thumb, if you're an athlete and you're trying to train and you're trying to get yourself into the best condition, your liver alone does 500 things in one day, daily, and it needs water. So just getting enough water for yourself, I try to go, say, an ounce a pound. So if you're a 150-pound person, you need 150 ounces of water. And that's just a good guesstimate. Maybe you need more. Maybe you need less, depending on how often you sweat or how vigorous your cardiovascular and training is. I mean, Carla, what would you say for the average human being? A gallon? About a gallon? Or the typical 8 to 16 glasses, right?
Yeah, about so.
You know?
Just and that would range depending on, based on what their activity level is. For somebody like me, I'm susceptible to kidney stones, and that's been an issue for me genetically since I was, getting them as young as even 18 years old.
Wow.
So I have to drink much more water than the average person does. And if I don't do it, I literally feel immediately, tightness in my lower back and that kind of pain. I personally, I don't, some people don't like even the taste of plain water. I had a lot of clients or even girlfriends go, I don't like water. I go, well, one of my favorite things in the summer that a lot of my clients are addicted to is they drink, their water with their lemon and their cucumber or a little bit of mint.
Infusion.
And it helps people, that way it's a natural diuretic. It keeps them flushing
I
out.
put in aloe vera juice. I drink water and aloe vera juice.
Yeah, it gives it a
Sounds
little
good.
flavor without all
He
these
gives it
extra
a little bit
calories.
of flavor.
Yeah. I mean, especially for people that are just starting out, what's really unique about your palate is that you're so used to salt, sweets, and like that fatty flavor.
Oh, yeah.
And so as you drink more water, the water does actually get a little bit more flavor in it, but then it gets so plain because your palate's so clean. So adding these vivid, infusions of fruit
Makes
and
it easier.
a lot of really cool companies. I mean, even I know I go to Target at least twice a week, and I always see some new, put your fruit in here and put your water around it, and it'll make it taste that way. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
The simpler you can make it, the more amped people are going to be to use that product.
You just have to be careful what those products have in them.
Most
Most of the new ones coming out are clean.
Well, if it's fruit, you're fine. But I mean, I know what you mean, like Crystal Light or whatever. And a lot of the companies, because people are so health conscious now, is you have this invasion of people like, well, what's in it? What's going on? You know? And so a lot, like the top one right now, aspartame. Everybody and their mom knows that aspartame now is no good.
Right.
So people are looking out for it. And products are actually putting in bold, no aspartame, no this, no that. Subway just had a big thing where they were explaining, everyone's like, well, look, they're talking about they don't have that one chemical that was in yoga mats in it anymore. And I said, well, just the fact that they're addressing that is scary. Just because, well, why would they have to say that it wasn't in it after all? You know what I mean? Like, it's just funny how many things are actually in the foods or in the stuff that you use the flavor, and you just got to look out. I mean, everything's a chemical, in general, so.
I agree.
I agree.
Portioning, guys.
You do have to watch what you eat.
Yeah, of course
absolutely.
you do. You are what you eat.
The biggest thing is you have to be in control.
Yeah, but I just don't want people to think that when they read something that's bad, that it's because you take it in one time. It's a very long progressive ingestion of certain things that are going to cause negative effects. Some people doesn't happen at all. Some people take it one time. And it's all about justifying to yourself, okay, I'm going to have a balance of good and bad. I mean, it really is going to have to be like that. You cannot live your life being scared about, oh, well, I'm probably going to get, a high acidity level in my body, which means I'm more prone to cancer. And then you start freaking out. It's
you can't
okay.
live like that.
You can't. And so just through moderation and through giving yourself an opportunity to eat clean food and earn the times where you probably shouldn't be eating it, but whatever.
You have to.
You got to feed your soul.
It'll
You
keep the
do.
balance. You won't go
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll go crazy, and then
Yeah.
you'll just flip out and binge for a month or
That's what
or
Alayna did
longer.
last year. I'm just playing.
No, I mean, I tend to eat my junk.
Alayna, what's your
everybody does here
number
and there.
one? Like, if you had an opportunity to go out and say, Alayna, you can have whatever you want. What's Alayna's dinner of choice? Like, where are we taking you?
Well, I am a vegetarian, so I
Okay.
don't eat meat.
Okay.
If somewhere where they had really good fish.
Excellent.
Yes.
I'm a
Excellent.
big fish.
So you're
I'm a seafood
vegetarian,
lover.
but you're like semi-pescatarian.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah. Because I work out so much, I can't figure out.
You don't
how
like
to
3
be
pounds
a
of black
vegan.
beans, I guess?
No.
Okay.
They just
okay.
I can't. I just can't. I won't get enough protein. I don't feel.
What
good.
you're explaining right now is really cool because I have a lot of friends who, I'm a vegan and how can you eat meat and stuff like that. And in the reality of it is, and I love telling them, it is it's science, and you look at the body and you look at how we're designed and you look at the certain strategically placed teeth that we have and you look at the kidney, how it's supposed to help us, digest raw meat and stuff like that. I'm not saying go out and kill an animal and bite it in the throat, but, if you can have an opportunity to get a higher protein intake by, going through the life cycle, we're going to eat things that are smaller and less strong as us because that's just how life kind of goes through. So fish, all these different animals are going to be part of it. Does a fish go around avoiding other animals and eating just certain veggies? Does a bear go eating bark of a tree? No. He eats what he needs necessarily to live, and it's just kind of life that goes around. And I think it's unique how they have such a good way of getting us so caught up in you don't want to hurt the animal, and it's 100% true. You do not want to be cruel. I see what they do to certain things, and I see the process, and they are right because I think that's wrong. I don't think that the cruelty that they put through is awful.
And some of it is just, the way they're kept and then the way the meat is processed is actually
disgusting.
Disgusting and very dirty.
It is.
But as I got older, I just found that I felt better when I stopped eating meat. And that really is what, besides that, it was really that I felt better and that I could keep my weight under control better.
Everyone's body, I would say is really different. Like, now that I no longer compete, honestly, I really, I enjoy my steaks. I love a good filet mignon. Usually once a week, I find that I need that for the iron.
But that's such a good cut.
Yeah, but it's always a high quality red meat.
Yeah.
But for myself personally, I hardly eat. My body responds very well to fish and seafood. That's just how it is. And so my diet is mostly structured around a lot of that. And some people, they're like, I can't stand fish. I go, for me, it's very easy for my body to process. And even with clients, it's just figuring out. Some people need more protein than others. Everybody responds a little bit differently.
Yeah, and I just found I responded better to less meat. I could keep my weight at a better level.
What's unique, though, about your situation, too, is that you've actually almost stumbled upon a benefit at this point in your life.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say your age, but when you
can say it,
you get to the super phenomenal, I'm always fantastic age, it's actually better to kind of take out that meat level because your organs are no longer working at 100%.
Right, same way they were.
Yeah,
exactly.
so taking in fish and stuff like that, that's so good for you.
And I've noticed a lot of people, over 50 are starting to do that and realize that. Yeah. That you can't digest the food the same way you did when you were in your 20s, 30s, and 40s.
Yeah. And that's what I try to encourage people, too, is while you can eat this food, while you can go have a dozen donuts as your refeed or whatever you do,
enjoy it.
You got to make sure that you're getting yourself some dense, mature muscle now so that when you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, you have a structural integrity to your body. You have a density that keeps you safe. And as your body starts losing muscle, your body puts up a fight, and the muscle won't allow it to. If you have a very normal physique and you're just eating right and you've kind of transitioned into the vegetarian part of your life, it is going to be unfortunate and a different degree of awareness that you're going to have when you have no muscle and you've kind of lived this healthy lifestyle without any resistance training. I mean, even doing yoga is better than nothing because you're promoting the lengthening of the muscle and the healing and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I'm training a lady now that even though she's like 100 pounds, everybody thinks she's so thin and she looks so great, but she has no muscle.
Yeah.
She can't even, she can't lift anything. I mean, I keep telling her in a few years, you're going to be on a walker.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to get yourself out of a chair unless you start exercising and building some muscle.
I think it's amazing that you not only train, but you train people. Like, that shows a lot of vigor, Alayna. I think that's really cool.
Yes, I do train people. And I train older people, and, I've kept them in really good shape.
You kept yourself in great shape, too,
I have,
though.
I'm a walking coach, so I can't just show up and say, okay, you go. I do it with them. And when people are older, you have to do it with them. Because they need to follow you. They don't count as well, and they don't remember the routine as well.
Yeah.
So you have to get down there and do it with them.
Absolutely. Well, and it's important, too, for them to see you as an example. Like, wow, okay, she's been able to maintain this. She looks this great. She feels this great. Not only does she train herself, but she's able to train this many people in a day as well.
Yeah.
So for them, even if their mind tries to tell them they can't handle it, when they see you and they see everything that you're doing, it's kind of like,
Yeah,
well,
I mean, the
It's a
gentleman.
supercharge.
Yeah,
It's a
the
pump.
gentleman
What's
that
my
I'm training.
excuse?
You get the forehead vein.
That's 80 years old is
forehead vein.
amazing. He's more computer savvy than I could ever be at 80. He's amazing. Amazing, amazing. I mean, he's still lifting 40-pound pots. He said it is a lot, heavier than I remember it to be, but he's in amazing good shape at 80.
That's beautiful.
For you, Alayna, really quick, what noticeable benefit can you see, and how much appreciation do you have for when you started training initially in your life to now, and thinking of if you hadn't started then, where
My
you'd be?
God, I was just thinking that you must have been. You know what? I always was athletic, but growing up, girls were not allowed. We didn't have softball. I mean, all we had when I was growing up is you could either get into ballet, tap,
And when
play tennis.
and not trying to reiterate your age, but when was this? Like what?
like in the late 50s, 60s.
That
So-
time, it was like there was real no books. It was kind of, if you wanted to train, it
No.
was specific things, right?
There wasn't anything.
It wasn't go to the gym. It was go to
There was
ballet.
no gym.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a swimming pool, and in Rochester, New York, or you went skiing. We did go ice skating. I mean, yeah, there were things you could do, but there was no daily routine.
Gym
that thing.
flow.
There was no gym rats. There was no gym. There was no equipment.
Yeah.
There was no aerobics. I
Yeah.
mean, those words weren't even
No
around.
jazzercise
No
Pilates.
jazzercise. No, nothing. But it wasn't until 1983. Oh, it really wasn't until I got to Vidal Sassoon in the corporate office, and I was around Vidal and Beverly and that whole era in the late 70s, 80s, where fitness just started to come in. Vidal he had a reformer in his office. You know, sushi was just becoming popular. I mean, Vidal
Wow.
would. I learned
Look
how
at
to
him.
eat sushi in Vidal's office. Nobody knew what sushi was. He
Yeah.
was the only one. In Beverly, our offices were in Century City, so right, and the salon was in Beverly Hills. So,
Yeah.
he would have platters of sushi for meetings, and half the people wouldn't eat it because they didn't know what it was. So he would invite a few of the corporate people in, and we would be standing all in his office, and you couldn't say no to Vidal. You'd
So you
have
just
to
gotta
eat
kind
it.
of eat what you could recognize, and that was it.
There you
But
go.
that's when I really started getting into fitness, as being at Vidal Sassoon, because I worked so closely with him, he really, and I was heavy then. I was about 25 pounds heavier than
wow.
I am now. And so, he would give you this look like, okay, when are you going to get this weight off?
Wow.
That's how
And
those
that was your
industries
motivation.
are.
And in the corporate office, it was so beautiful. There were mirrors everywhere. So you couldn't not turn and not look at yourself in a mirror.
Oh yeah.
That's some accountability right there then.
Yeah.
It is.
And then really when I got really serious was when I got promoted to head of special events, and we were the first corporate sponsors of the 1984 Olympics. And I traveled with swimming, diving, and gymnastics.
Oh, nice.
And I was around Mary Lou Retton and Bella Caroli and all the divers. What was that? He's still on TV. He did that swimming thing. Who had the most incredible body, and the swimmer. But anyway, and being around elite athletes, Olympic athletes, that's what really changed my life.
Oh my God, that would have totally
Yeah.
permanently inspired.
Did you start, so for yourself personally as a woman, especially at a time where a lot of women weren't, say, actively working out, it wasn't a big thing. How did you start? Were you did you begin with like kind of the aerobics era with classes targeted towards
No, I
women or
actually,
weight resistance?
I
or-
actually was dating somebody who did a lot of yoga, but he
Mm-hmm.
also belonged to the West Side Y for swimming.
Okay.
So I actually started at the West Side Y swimming, and then they had an adult fitness class. So I started taking that. Then I ended up teaching there. But I
Okay.
started at the Y.
Oh,
Wow.
very cool. That's great.
That's so cool
Love
because
it.
they make the Y seem like such a valuable asset, and I think people forget that it really was one of the first kind of gyms where kids can go and do kind of recreational stuff and play basketball and swim and whatnot. And then it just kind of evolved into this whole, you know, we need a more specific outlet for just training in general.
Yeah, and then I remember taking the first aerobics class.
Oh
That was,
my
I
God.
love it. Where was that?
you know, like, and then, you know, taking one of Jane Fonda's first classes with
Wow.
the leg warmers.
That's
oh my
amazing.
God.
That's amazing.
I
That
want to see
is.
pictures of that. That's what
I
we
know. I
need
want to
to
see
show.
the
I want to see
first
that.
class.
I don't have,
Thank
you know, those days we didn't have cell phones. There were no cameras.
That's true. That's true.
There
But-
was nothing.
Yeah.
You have no way of connecting. No, you weren't allowed. I mean, none of this was around then. They didn't even have, I think they had one floor of the old Universal equipment that was just huge. Nothing else.
Wow.
quite a change from now.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and especially I think with all the media now, what do you, how do you feel about the information that's being put out there negatively and positively?
There's more positive than negative. Some of the negative stuff you just have to say, okay, read it, absorb it, and, you know, some of it is, well, some of it has helped.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I remember doing a lot of the old aerobic stuff that's been outlawed, a lot of some of the old knee bends, and a lot of that information has been outlawed. So, you know, some of the stuff has been really positive, but there's been a lot of junk too. What do you think? I mean, you're in it
Yeah, I
now
was gonna
more
say-
at a higher level than I am, because you guys are in. Well, you're in competition. You're not competing anymore, but you're training people who are.
I think personally it's a cool position to be in, to have even a small following of people that use you as an outlet for information that's positive and that's right.
I mean,
And
you're an amazing writer.
I thank you very much. Totally catching me off guard, but you know, I think what's really cool is that all the information out there is actually right and wrong, and it's all about filtering it and properly
I agree.
applying it so that it works for you. Because what sucks, and that I shouldn't say out loud, but it's true, is that a lot of these companies, a lot of the major magazines are actually intentionally confusing people so that they're forced to basically do everything and buy everything, which is perfect. That's a perfect frame of mind to be in for business. But as a person and on a personal level, it's hard because you're looking at these people that you want to look like, and you're just thinking to yourself, what do I got to get up and do? What is my routine got to be like? What is my cardio got to be like? What is my training got to be like? And when you go to look for this information, it's kind of, you get blasted in the face with
It's a lot to
everything.
handle.
Everything.
Yeah.
You
For
should
people.
probably find one person that you really admire
That's exactly what I try to tell people.
and follow that. Don't be
And-
jumping around, because you're going to get too much information and,
And
you won't know what to believe.
exactly. And you know what, Carla, this has happened, I'm sure, to you, where I'm coaching and I tell someone something and they listen and they either win or they need to improve next time. And then I have people that come up to me and ask me something, and I tell them honestly what they should do.
Yes.
And then they go right up to someone else and they ask them something else.
Oh,
And then they go
yes.
right up to someone else. And then
And they
and
ask
you
them the same
see
thing.
them
Yes.
asking the same question to like 4 or 5 different people. And then they're standing there at the gym. And you're like, dude, why did you do that to yourself?
Yes.
You know?
And the worst thing is, I tell people too, especially whether you're getting ready for a show or you're just looking to get in shape. Also, too, what I tell most of my clients is find somebody that you admire whose body structure is naturally somewhat similar to yours. If you're
Exactly.
a total ectomorph, pick someone who's an ectomorph. If you're a mesomorph, it has to be the same.
All right, explain what those words
Okay.
mean. Nobody outside
Tim
the
knows.
fitness
These are-
world's going to know what those are.
These are genetic predispositions. Like when you're born, your body has a formulation in your DNA that helps you be a specific way. Okay, and without trying to trip people out, what that means is that when you see someone who's always been thin, you've known them since they were 8, 10, 12, 20, 30, and they're always thin, that would be an ectomorph. That would be someone whose metabolism's always high, but they're just, you know, like genetic traits. Everybody has kind of a plus and a minus. So an
Yeah.
ectomorph, although thin always,
Has
if they
strong
ever wanted to
muscle.
gain size, it's going to be ultra difficult for them. Then you have mesomorph, kind of the epitome, kind of like the centered physique. If they want to gain muscle, they can gain muscle. If they want to cut up, they can cut up. So that would be, it seems like that would be the ultimate form, but even mesos.
We can gain weight. I'm
Yeah,
a meso, and I
absolutely.
can put on body fat if not careful.
Absolutely. So it all comes down to it. And then endos when you're tend to be a little bit heavier.
When you tend to be bigger.
Tend to carry a little bit more weight, tend to be a little bit blockier, and when you try to lose it, it's get a little bit more difficult.
Okay. Yeah, we need to explain those because that is important.
Yep.
Okay. I think Richard's playing music. All right, Richard's playing music, so you know what that means. We're going to take a short break. Carla, Tim, and I are going to come back. We're going to talk more fitness. I think we should get into talking about, because you guys both have the best abs in the world.
Oh, my God.
Right. So
Thanks.
we're going to come back and talk abs because I think that's everybody's biggest and hardest
in the
thing.
Everybody
to
wants a
have.
six-pack.
Everybody
Everybody
wants a
does,
six-pack,
okay.
and not everybody can have a six-pack. But we're going to try. So
Absolutely.
stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. This is Alayna's Beauty Talk and more on LA Talk Live. We're more than just talk.
Come on, baby, just pump it. Pump it. Pump it. Pump it. Pump it. Pump it. And say, yo, yo. Turn up the radio, blast your stereo, right?
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Starlet Quarles, and I'm inviting you to join us every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People. Join us as we discuss the topics that are relevant to today's generational leaders. So don't forget to tune in to The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People, every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Dawn Christie inviting you to join me every Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific, for my all-new show, The Dawn Christie Show. Join me as I discuss love, spiritual readings, your purpose, why am I born, what am I here to do. So don't forget to tune in The Dawn Christie Show at 1 p.m. Pacific, exclusively on LA Talk Live. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV, reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hey y'all, I'm Shaquem Williams, and I'm the host of The Shock Factor here on LA Talk Live. We broadcast to the world every Friday at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Live music, live performances, we're just live. Chef Momo, Life MC, Diana, and once again, your host, Shaquem Williams. So come join us every Friday here at LA Talk Live, the world-leading broadcasting internet radio station. The Shock Factor. The Shock Factor.
Join us on the Shock Factor.
Welcome back to Alayna's Beauty Talk and more. We're talking summer fitness and just fitness in general. I am here with two of the best trainers in LA, Carla Cadode and Tim Roberts, Bodies by Tim. Do you have a website?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. But you're on Facebook and Twitter. You can find her
And
everywhere.
Instagram, everywhere. Tim and I are all over our social
actually,
medias.
I
We're all about
Googled
it.
you, so you're everywhere. You can just Google Carla. But anyway, I want to really kind of take the next half hour to talk about how to look good in a bathing suit, both men and women, because everybody wants to have that six-pack. And you guys definitely have six-packs. And it's just amazing. They do, I have to say, have the best abs in LA.
Oh my God.
You do. I mean, I put your pictures up. Actually, if you on your computer, you can go to our Facebook page, which is Beauty Talk Live, And I have some amazing pictures I found on the internet of you guys, so I posted them this morning.
Awesome.
Aw,
So
thank
you can definitely see their abs, and they're for real.
They're real.
They're
not
definitely
airbrushed.
real.
There's no airbrush.
No.
I almost put that
Painted
on. This is
no
not
painted on.
Photoshop.
Did you, Carly? Did you see that? Oh my God, it tripped me out. It was a picture of a competitor who had ab implants. Did you see that?
I didn't even know this existed.
I didn't even know
I
those
know. That's what
Is that a
everybody was
joke?
telling me. I know. No, it's not a
They
joke.
don't do that in the United States, right? I'm assuming that's
No,
only-
it was at a show. It was a show. It was going around too. It was pretty crazy.
Wow, I've never heard
okay,
of
now
that.
Now I
You
like,
have-
have goosebumps. I'm
I
like,
know.
Oh, that's scary.
That is scary.
It looked really, really, really like you could not stop looking at it. It was crazy.
Fake or good?
It was fake.
They
yeah.
stick out like a mile. I'm
It was
sure,
fake.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my
That
I'm not gonna say
has to be painful.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say his name, but if
Oh, it's a
everybody,
guy.
No, it's a girl. But the
Oh.
gentleman, it's a girl. But the gentleman who got everyone aware of this is very popular in the fitness world for kind of promoting the shows and being there and taking pictures of all this stuff. And he tweeted this because he's very big on Twitter. And I was shocked. I mean, I was just like, wow. Like, the length that people would go now has exceeded. I mean, it's gotten pretty...
That's- And a woman. I would
Yeah.
have thought that a man would have been the one.
Yeah.
Not a woman.
It was really
Wow.
unique. Very unique.
Which show is this now? I need to take a look at that.
I don't know what show exactly, but the gentleman who you need to follow on Twitter, I'll make sure to let you know who that is.
Yes, I think I already know who it
Yeah.
is. Actually,
Your
Tim
face
and I know
kinda
all
lit
the,
up.
we
Yeah,
know
I'm
all
pretty
the same
sure you
people,
know who it is,
yeah, I
so-
have no doubt.
Yep.
All right, let's get back to six-pack abs.
Okay.
Or even trying to improve the abs you have, because some people just, by the way they're built or whatever, cannot totally achieve six-pack abs. But you can always get your abs flatter.
Yeah, I mean, you no doubt you can, and I think it comes down to basic principles: diet, cardio, and strength training. And it's a combination of applying all three of those aspects properly to get the look that you want.
Absolutely.
Carla, what would you say, cardio-wise? Between all the different forms of cardio, for people, what do you think? I've kind of narrowed it down to LISS and HIIT.
Yes.
For me personally, I enjoy doing LISS is like low intensity, steady state. I'm just on the treadmill, trying to keep my intensity very low, my resistance very low, and I'm just kind of getting my heart rate up to a specific level. It's different for everyone depending on your age, to just burn pure fat. So that would be a really good thing for people to try to get, is if you can reach your target heart rate. Okay, for most it's 220 minus your age times whatever intensity. So if you want to go 60% intensity, it's 0.6. Okay, that number is important to reach because then you're not overexerting or underexerting yourself, and you're gonna be able to preserve muscle and burn fat. Now,
Yeah.
what's HIIT? What do you like to do for HIIT, Carla?
Personally, for me, I prefer HIIT for myself just because I'm usually in a kind of a time crunch. For HIIT, it honestly depends. I will sometimes use the revolving stairs. That's something I like to do.
Oh, I've
and I'll
always
go-
saw you on those
yes.
a lot.
Alayna knows me on there when I was competing. For some people, though, that can be a little bit much for their knees and whatever else. Something like the elliptical or even the treadmill at an incline can work very well for them. Most of my clients do the majority of their cardio as HIIT cardio. But then they'll have a couple of LISS sessions in there as well, on an off day or to just kind of help flush out lactic acid. And also generally for a lot of the older people I train, they'll be primarily LISS to begin with.
Okay, tell
especially.
what that means.
That's what Tim had just explained as far as a low intensity
Yeah.
cardio, more of a steady state.
Yeah.
For how long?
A longer period of time.
To be honest,
I mean, it varies, but
I know that a lot of people say do not do all this cardio and a lot of cardio, but if you are a heavier set person trying to lose some bulk, trying to do some bulk weight loss, doing an hour of LISS is actually perfectly acceptable, and that's why there's a lot of good supplements like amino acids and making sure you get your protein intake afterward and getting in a nice amount of carbs, like maybe an hour and a half pour through food. Little things like that. An hour really isn't that bad.
no, I do an hour.
And it's the actual like the 2 hours, the 3 hours, these
Yes.
very,
Wow.
very,
Long,
very
long
large
sessions.
bouts.
There's no need for
There isn't. And
for that.
actually, unless you have a bib and you have a number and you have running shorts on, there's really no point to go 2, 3, 4 hours because you're not trying to qualify for Boston.
Exactly.
So, but I would say that would be for cardio. I've minimized it to low intensity, steady state, maybe 2 or 3 times.
Yep,
And then if you're busier, I'll flip one in and out. And I'll try to go a little bit longer on lists. So instead of 3 half-hour, I'll do like maybe 1 hour and then 1 45-minute. And then I'll combo it with some HIIT that's about, I usually try to, even though HIIT, people tend to keep HIIT around 20 minutes, that's actually perfect. But you can go longer than that as long as you are of understanding of the volume inversely related to intensity.
Right.
So if you keep the intensity a little bit lower, you can go 30, 40 minutes a HIIT and really crank up those calorie burns because it's an interval style of training. Carla, what type of interval, what type of set intervals do you have for yourself and how many sets do you do?
Usually the way I do it is I just alternate. Most of the time I will do 1.5 minutes at a slower pace.
There you go.
1.5 to 2 minutes, depending. But sometimes I'll go as much as 3 minutes slower if I feel I don't need as much. And then I'll go my sprints anywhere from 40, as low as 30 seconds, usually 45 to 1 minute at most. So, and then I take it back down. So, of course, if I'm going a 45-second sprint, I'll probably do slow pace at 1.5 minutes. If I'm going a full minute sprint, then I'm going to go about 2 to 3 minutes of slower pace. So those things kind of change based on however I'm going to be structuring it for that day specifically. Also
Exactly.
depends on, what kind of weight training I did that day.
Yep.
As far as weight training, even with my clients, I'm somebody who prefers to do circuits. Most of my clients will have 3 to 4 exercises in a row that they're completing, depending what it is, with minimal rests in between even the circuits and the exercises themselves. And for a lot of them, I find that tends to be a good way to, it keeps them moving. They don't start talking and getting too comfortable.
Yep.
Yeah, you
And-
gotta watch
yes.
the talking.
Yep.
And then that way also too, the time goes quicker because, when they've got a little bit more time to rest and kind of relax, then they can start to ask questions about, how much more do I have to do? I like to keep them on their toes and let them get the most out of that session.
Yep. Yep.
So how long do you usually keep your clients? An hour, 90 minutes?
My training clients are all 1 hour.
1 hour, okay.
Mhm. Absolutely.
I mean, I have clients who do like 30 minutes, but they come in pretty frequently during the week, and it's specifically for like a fat burn workout. And they do strength training stuff on their own, or they do their fat burn training on their own, and they come in and do a lift with me.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, usually 30 minutes to an hour. I know some people that do 45-minute workouts, and it's totally fine. It's just,
Yeah.
On average,
Most of my clients are now. I have one because we walk the dog.
Yeah.
And the dog stops a lot.
Yeah.
That workout gets to be, and it's only because of the dog that ends up 90 minutes.
The dog, Alayna.
The dog. Well, you know what? If I didn't show up, the dog would never get out of the backyard.
You're right.
Well, and I tell
You're right.
people too, what are you doing with that amount of time? Because you hear some people that go, their bodies don't change, and they say that their diet's decently clean, and I spend 2-3 hours a day in the gym. Yeah, but what are you doing in that? If your
Yeah.
workout's taking you 2 hours, and you say you're going hard, but you can last 2 hours. I don't know how hard you're really going.
Yeah.
Are you taking
Yeah,
those
no doubt.
3-minute rests in between? It's utilizing that time effectively. And also, too, that's going to affect your metabolism after your workout as well. It's very different. A power lifter trains strictly for strength. So you're looking at guys taking 3 minutes or something between each lift and doing maybe a couple of reps at most.
Yeah,
Yep.
and sending out a few tweets along the way.
Exactly.
Hey, it is free. And I think without confusing people too, that the harder you lift, the more you're going to have to rest because of the chemicals that have to regenerate in your body for lifting. The anaerobic response of your body is different than the aerobic response of your body. When you lift and when you do cardio, your body uses 2 totally different energy sources. So it's very unique, And I know, as Carla was saying, if you can utilize an hour and really make an hour count, I know a lot of people that will train hard and do jump roping in between sets. Or they'll do, for me sometimes, I don't have enough time to come in, do an hour of training, come back, do a half hour of cardio and do a half hour of abs. So what I'll do is I'll do my half hour of cardio before I even train. And then I'll go out there and I'll do, instead of an hour of training, I'll do 45 minutes and I'll shorten the rest. So now that's cardio too.
Exactly.
And then what I do to superset to make it cardio is the abs. So now I've got a 90-minute full on just fest of just going all out, making sure that I'm getting everything in an amount of time that is recommended, and my rest is minimized, but the intensity is not as hard.
Yeah, I do
You
that
know.
sometimes
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. And it's cool. It's kind of like your own little mini Olympics, isn't it, Alayna?
Yeah.
Right?
All right, let's talk about abs. Like, seriously.
Okay, so
what
cardio
should-
we've kind of gotten out of the way.
Yeah.
What about diet, Carla?
Well, before we go into diet, let's
For the abs, what do you want? Training abs?
let's talk. You know,
That's the juice of it all, Alayna.
what? The
No, training
That's
abs.
the end
Yeah,
of it all,
the-
right?
Well, I think with training abs, for me personally, it's two things, and it's simple. You look in the mirror and you say, do I need more abs? Do they need to be more visible?
Or do I need to diet down?
Or do I need to diet down and I need to start doing more floor prone abs or mat abs? I like to call them tedious because they're really annoying. You have to do high reps of them. There's no weight involved. It's just you on the mats and just crunching away, or you're hanging, or you're doing something that's trying to recruit the abs the best you can. And for me, that brings out the detail. Like when I'm out and I'm trying to get ready for a show, I'm definitely doing floor prone abs. I mean, if I'm 2 or 3, 4 months out, I'm doing stuff with a lot of weight because I want my abs to grow. I want to make them more apparent and more visible. So that way when I do cut them down doing higher reps, there's something there to get more tight. You know what I mean? A lot of people crunch themselves to hell, and in
they don't
reality,
see anything.
well, and that goes to the diet portion that we'll talk about, that
Yeah.
if you don't have a low enough body fat percentage, you could easily have abs. Like when
never
I was
see
when I was heavy, I thought crunching your abs like crazy was the best way to do it because your abs are underneath your fat. You crunch your abs and boom, fat's gone, right?
No
But that's
way.
when I didn't know. I was 250
Exactly.
pounds. I would have tried anything. If someone said eat a pound of poop and you lose a pound of fat, I would have done it, right?
yeah.
So that's what Arnold said, except for gaining muscle. And so if you have these principles and you don't even know what you're supposed to do, you'll end up doing that. And what sucked for me is that I did abs so well that it actually pushed my stomach out more because then I had these awesomely chiseled abs from training them so hard, but there is 13% body fat over them. So I could push my stomach fat down and I could see my top 2, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, I need to diet better. So I really started focusing on that, and that's when I really started seeing the results, and I was like, wow, I am actually training as hard as I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
It's more diet related.
So probably the best thing is floor work for abs to get started.
Absolutely,
Beginning
but
it's
you
easier.
yeah, I mean, it's going to help you get through what's called strength endurance. You are not going to be able to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reps, whatever, so on, of strength abs if you do not have strength endurance, as in going through that barrier. Okay, there's a point where, and I've
So
written.
are you talking about basic crunches then?
Yeah.
For people to just start with the basic crunch?
Absolutely.
And you can find that on a video somewhere
Yeah,
on
crunches,
YouTube.
If
planks,
you
the
and
basics
what I
to
would
begin
what I
with.
would try to type in is basic crunch, and what that'll bring up is people laying down flat with their legs up 90 degrees to keep their back flat. Because if you're crunching and your legs are flat, or your legs are in a position where your back is exposed, crunching up isn't really going to help it a whole
Not gonna
lot.
do much for
No,
abs.
and then you
No.
end up sometimes working your neck, not your stomach.
Absolutely. And that's
So-
why, and that's another thing I try to tell people: have your hands on your temple or have your hands touching your trap. If you connect your fingers behind your head, you will not have a six-pack below your chin. Like, there's no muscles there. So, I mean, except for your sternos and your,
Yeah.
I could go into it because I know them all. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also too, for people, I think there's just simple basics they can start with if they're newer to it, because you can't I don't advise somebody who's brand new to even working out or has very weak abs. You got to build up that endurance first, like Tim said. You can't
Yep.
have someone going in there. You see these people that really don't work out that much and they go gung ho, and there you got this guy doing crazy hardcore weighted abs when his abs are very weak, because he thinks, I want to build them
Yep.
and grow
Yeah,
them
but
right
then
away.
you hurt
gotta-
your back.
Exactly.
Well, and you hurt your back, and the weight is so high, you're not getting mind to muscle connection. You're just kind of doing
Just
it.
trying to move it, and
Yeah.
everything else starts to come into play. The back, the hips, everything.
Yeah, because your
drive that
stomach
weight.
muscles aren't strong enough to support
Exactly.
what you're doing.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I tell people start with the basics, and especially with planks, same thing.
Exactly.
Get that down, because the majority of people, it's like, okay, they'll think that they know how to work abs, but then, I have a lot of clients. Oh yeah, I do abs classes. I do this many crunches a day, but then I'll go, okay, well, let's go ahead and let's do a plank. Let's hold that for 30 to 60 seconds. Let's see how you do. And that's always kind of told me whether or not they were doing it correctly.
Yeah.
So are they all the way up, or are they just on their elbows and?
A plank or a 4-point plank is where you lay down, face down, and you are holding your body up using your arms and your elbows on the ground and your toes on the ground.
Right, because
And
that's the
so-
way I've been doing
Yeah.
it.
And you don't want the butt or anything.
No,
really
you
want
high
it
in
flat
there. You
like a
want
plank.
Well, what
Exactly.
you're trying to do is emulate standing, and you're trying to hold your body up structurally, and you're trying to hold that, and that's going to build integrity in your entire core. And why Carla says that's such a beginner exercise is it's creating a static. Okay.
Right.
And and what's so fun is I know exactly what happens in the body as you do a plank, and what exactly recruits and why that vibration happens. And what's cool about that vibration as you hold that plank is it's actually a miscommunication in your body. Two things that are required to flex and relax your muscle are trying to tell your brain what is going on. Are we flexing or are we relaxing? And neither is happening. So that response is that vibration. And that's what's so cool, is your body has that amazing ability to kind of do this totally different purpose. And that static is going to grow your abs, and it's going to encourage you to do more ab work because you're going to get strong fast. And
Yeah, so
timing.
Start with the basic plank, or
Yeah,
should you
and start with, like-
crunches.
A combination of all of those things.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
because the plank, what I say to my clients is that's kind of, when you're assessing somebody that you're just beginning with, that's one of the things, that as well, of course, as like their squat form. Those are like a couple of the things that I use as far as benchmarks to take a look at them and see, okay, where are you at right now?
Yeah.
Because that says a great deal about their body. If somebody is very, very weak in their core, very weak abs, they're going to have a lot of difficulty. They might be able to do crunches and continue, and yeah, they'll get tired, but then they'll start to kind of cheat their way. When I put them in a plank, there's really not much cheating except for if you're starting to lift your hips. And so I can tell from there, okay, this is, structurally where they're lacking, because, there's a lot of ways to really work out your abs, but like we said, diet's number one. And if somebody hasn't mastered just the basics first, it's just, there's really going to be no point. Hanging leg raises are one of my favorites. I mean, that does wonderful for me. I really don't have to do much ab work, but also I do those in a very strict way, whereas a lot of people in the gym who don't know how to do them yet or are beginning, everything that they're doing is just their hip flexors. That's all that's working. And they're up there, they're like, oh, I'm killing it. I'm doing hanging leg raises, I'm doing great. But I'm like, well, your hips are working. Your abs aren't even engaged.
And word to the wise, if you are doing a hanging leg up or hanging knee up and you're swinging like a crazy person, it is number one, because you are not bringing your feet all the way down and straightening your body out and hanging freely again. You need to completely relax your abs before every rep, or there's different ways to modify it where you bring your feet in front of you to draw your knees in so you can keep kind of the speed. But otherwise, that full range is so important to elongate your abs as far as it can possibly go, and then drawing your abs up as high as you possibly can, because it's all about that recruitment.
Yeah.
Each phase, each flex that you do is either recruiting the muscle or it's growing it.
Yeah. If you're not, it's like anything. If you're doing a bicep curl, you need to feel the contraction. You need to feel that in your muscles.
Yeah, you do.
And without going back to that position, without getting that stretch, you're not going to contract the muscle fully. You're going in limited little range of motion, and that's not what you're trying to accomplish.
I want to ask you this question. Since I've been training, I was training this gentleman, but he broke all the bands. He kept snapping.
Broke all the bands.
So I'm like, okay, we're done with bands.
No more bands.
No more bands. So he had 5-pound weights for him, and he had 2-pound weights that his wife used to use. So I started working with the 2-pound weights. I've gotten more definition with the 2-pound weights than I have with a lot of the gym work that I've done.
Well, it's making you, I mean, I can't say why that is, but maybe your focus is better.
Could be.
You know, and what you're
I mean, I still go to the gym, but you know,
The
more
only
days a week I'm
Yeah.
lifting these little 2-pound weights.
well, you're getting more isolation too, though.
In better form, probably.
Yeah.
Yep. Resistance bands are a form of those bands are a form of resistance called nonlinear, where depending upon how hard you curl it, it's going to be different weight every single time.
Yeah.
Whereas a dumbbell, that's called linear weight. No matter how you pick it up, it's going to be 2
same,
pounds.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, he just, you know, he just didn't like the bands.
Carla,
It's so funny. We would do, and within 2 seconds, I bought like 3.
those
I would
bands were
break
not
'em.
making her dance at all, huh?
Him.
Oh, him. Okay, well, that's why. That's why they're
That's
breaking.
too funny. I love it.
I'm like, okay, we're done. That's the third pair you've broken in less than 5 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
Carla, what would you say is a good like abs schedule if someone's trying to start their week off? And I know you say you don't train abs too vigorously, but what would be a nice system that you would give a client who's just starting out for abs? Like, what would be a schedule for them?
It depends. For somebody who's starting out 2 to 3 times a week, I would say,
Yep.
with usually about 4 exercises or so. And the rep range would kind of depend on where they're at. You know, if I have, like, for example, I have some clients that are very, very overweight that are brand new to working out. So for them, obviously, they have much lower rep ranges. But in general, I like them to have a few different exercises, something that's going to focus on the entire, you know, rectus abdominis, or the whole, I guess, six-pack you would refer to it as, something that's going to target the transverse abdominis, the girdle that holds everything in, something for lower abs, and something a little more for the obliques. So, you know, as people progress, then they can increase it. But normally for most of my people, it's usually 2 times a week to begin with for
Yep.
beginners. And then
And
maybe
it's mostly floor work.
yes, in the very beginning, absolutely.
Yep.
Or maybe with, if anything, a Bosu ball might be used, or, you know, one of these stability balls, but nothing too crazy chaotic. But always I like them to have an exercise to cover all of the different areas of the abdominals, because it's not just, you know, people get focused on just working right here. They only know about, okay, you know, I want, you know, to develop my abs, and they just think about right here, you've got so much that goes into it, and it's important. You don't want any particular muscle of your body to be so much stronger than any others.
Yep,
That's when
proportion.
Proportion.
Even your low back is part of your core too.
Absolutely.
You know, doing planks, doing
Supermans.
cobras, yeah, super. Well, I call them. It depends on who's doing them. I call them super women or super men. I try.
That's
not to,
true, right?
I try to
Try
change
not
it up
to.
for them. And even hyperextensions, those
Oh,
ones where the
yeah.
people are, you know, I notice for me too. If you're having problems recruiting your low back during those, if I push my heel into that pad really hard and I flex my legs and my butt,
I do that
and
all
then
the
I
time,
and then I
too.
do the hyperextension that way, it is all in my back and a
Yeah.
little bit of butt too, which
And
is
I don't
fine.
need the weights, you know, 'cause
No.
I see people with plates do it.
Yeah.
I go, if you do it this way, your body weight will be enough,
Yep.
and it will burn.
Absolutely. If I don't do it that way, I feel it all in my hamstrings and all in my butt, like just stretching it,
Yeah,
which is
hamstrings
good,
and
but I
glutes.
don't feel any recruitment there. I need it in my lower back sometimes. So,
That's true.
okay, so 2 or 3 times a week. How
Yeah.
long? 15
Just
to 30
however-
minutes?
Yes, always in that range, because usually that's the amount of time it'll take them to complete those exercises.
And how many reps?
You know, for most people beginning, I'll try to tell them, try to get in at least 15 to 20 for, you know, usually each exercise will have probably 4 sets. But for some people, because some people are so just at different points, I've got some people that can go right into it, and they can go high reps, or they can do numerous exercises. They can master the ab wheel. They can do all kinds of stuff with no problem. And those are people who come to me with some sort of background, or perhaps they were in sports. But for somebody who's very, very brand new, because that's usually who needs the most information, I tell them, you know, just try to find one exercise to cover every area, you know, and if you need to pull up an anatomy chart on Google or something and look and see how, you know, basically your abs, that whole area of your core is split up, and find an exercise that caters to each specific area that you want to work, and begin with that one for each area. That way they're not going to have these cramps and pains to where they're like, this is horrible and uncomfortable, I don't want to do it. And also, I don't want people that do not have correct form or don't have that endurance in their abs yet to, you know, be thinking, I have to get in all these reps, and, you know, halfway through, they're feeling that tightness, that pain, that pinching in their lower back. So I always tell my clients, go as much as you can as your body tells you intelligently to do so. If you start feeling that pinching in your lower back after you're doing your sit-ups and crunches, you're done. You're done. Exactly. Less is more at that point. You're not even getting the muscles you want to get anymore.
No, because they're doing it wrong, so then they're going to get hurt. It's better to do 10 properly.
Yeah.
Oh, quality over quantity always.
Always.
And it's the what is it? The golden rule where if you feel it burn, that's good. But if you're not pushing your limit, like you don't know your limits unless you push them, kind of thing. So just kind of see what you got. You know?
People get carried away. I go, but there's one thing between if your abs are getting fatigued and tired and it's getting hard, they're cramping. But if your lower back, that's always kind of the telltale for me. If your lower back really starts to feel it, then you need to back off and rest for a little bit.
Exactly. Get down from hanging upside down. Get down from there.
Yeah. So that's really good information. Yeah. Because it really is important to keep your abs strong.
Yeah.
If you can't get a six-pack, which not everybody can, at least have strong abs because everything goes through your core.
It does. I know I have some powerlifter buddies of mine that are not exceeding their PR and they're not going back to the basics. They're not encouraging the strength of their core, which is what holds the weight above them. It's little things like that actually help you push to the next level.
All right, we're going to take a short break because that's our music. When we come back, we're just going to continue this conversation about, I guess we'll call it basic summer fitness.
There you go.
Just get in good shape. Let's talk about what we can do at the beach when we come back.
I would love that.
Okay. All right, so when we come back, since everybody's going to start going to the beach now, we're going to tell you some things some exercises you can do at the beach. So stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. This is Alayna's Beauty Talk and more on LA Talk Live for more than just talk.
You just don't, but you'll see when I'm through, you wrong. I wasn't always the self-assured. I get torn down by people's hurtful words, telling me that I don't got enough soul. Just let me do me, not trying to play any role. But through all of this,
Keep tuning in to LA Talk Live, reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we're more than just talk. Stay tuned.
Hubert's Lemonade, tasty, refreshing, sweet, and tart. Happiness in a bottle. Visit Hubert's Lemonade at hubertslemonade.com. Once again, that's hubertslemonade.com. Happiness in a bottle. Xavier Tees and Tots, groundbreaking fashion, forward street smart designs. Tees and Tots for men, women, and boys. Visit XavierUSA.com. Once again, that's XavierUSA.com.
Young Connection, your one-stop connection for all your graphic design and commercial printing needs. Young Connection is a full-service printing and media design company dedicated to providing the highest level of customer service and satisfaction. Young Connection provides swift response and rapid turnaround services for banners, brochures, business cards, letterheads, church bulletins, funeral programs, flyers, logo design, posters, and much, much more, all at an affordable price. Young Connection, the official printing company of LA Talk Live. Give them a call at 310-491-3336. That's 310-491-3336, or visit their website at www.youngconnection.com. That's www.youngconnection.com. Young Connection Printing and Media Services, proud sponsors of LA Talk Live, where it's more than just talk.
Hi, this is Dr. Levi, your fitness doctor, making a personal house call, inviting you to join me Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific for my all-new show, The Dr. Levi Show. Join us as we discuss fitness, health, and well-being, including emotional and spiritual health. So don't forget to tune in to The Dr. Levi Show every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, exclusively on latalklive.com and the Talk Live Broadcast Network. You can also catch us on iTunes, Radio R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv, or catch us on the Live 365 network, and now on Radio Flag and Stitcher Radio. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Welcome back to Alayna's Beauty Talk and more summer fitness show with Tim Roberts and Carla Cadote. We are going to talk about working out or workouts at the beach because everybody's starting to go to the beach. The weather's really we're getting hot here.
Yeah,
so people are heading
kind of goes off
to
and
the
on.
beach.
It kind of goes off and on, it seems like. One day it'll be nice, and the next day it'll be kind of like super, super hot, and it's like, oh, great, this is awesome.
But during break, Tim goes, oh, I have a whole beach workout on my phone,
Yeah,
so
I
he
do.
just pulled it up.
I do.
Also, Tim has, did you just say your daughter's 2.5?
Yep.
All right. So I also want
2.5
him to...
going on 40.
2.5 going on 40.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about what you can do with your kids at the beach.
Sure.
You know, for them to work out, besides just swim and go in the water. You know, what's good for like a little family workout they can do together?
Well, I think it first and foremost kind of is based on your kid's age. You know, if you have, I think for most parents, well, I guess not for most, because I don't know, everybody's different. But I know for me, I waited a little while before I took Marley outside in the sun. So if you have a 1-year-old or a developed a 2-year-old as I do, then, you know, simple little drills where you're running back and forth and encouraging them to run to you, little things where, you know, you go out into the ocean and you go explore for little stuff and it kind of makes them have to go in the water. You know, anything that makes them experience or get exposed to new things like that is an excellent fitness environment for them because it has to be so minimal. You know, I know when Marley was little, we did like little stretching things and little stuff where, you know, I made her push against my hand and little stuff like that where it helped her kind of be familiar with resistance. But, you know, at that age, it's about fun. They have no idea what fitness is. So anything recreational where it makes them exhaust themselves and around 2 o'clock gets them a nap so you can chill out is going to be awesome. Is going to be awesome. So, you know, but I mean, if you have an older kid and you have, you know, some 5-year-olds or 10-year-olds or even, you know, they're 12, almost a teenager, you know, they're looking for some really exhilarating stuff. So, you know, sprinting in and out by the docks or running from one point of the beach to the next. Actually, one of the coolest things that you can do is having the mom and the dad really far distances from each other and have the kids run through the part of the sand that's actually got water and it's wet and it's really thick. Mm-hmm. Then as they come back, have them come on the dry part back to the mom or the dad. And that difference in the terrain is going to be excellent for them. If they play sports, if they do anything like that. So always try to get something that is going to help them, you know, kind of condition for maybe they're in a sport right now. Maybe they're doing something that you want to like encourage the fact that they'll be able to do it a little bit better. So little things like that are kind of cool. It's going to take the parents, you know, you need to take it upon yourself to see what's fun and what they're going to enjoy. Some kids, you take them to the beach and you try to do some of the stuff I'm saying, they're not going to do a darn thing. They're just going to sit there and look at the water and it just depends.
Make a sandcastle or something.
Yep.
You know?
You never know. You never know. So.
Okay, so now what can the parents do and what can you do to stay in shape when you go to the beach?
Well, I think if it's the parents and you have the kids there, first and foremost, I mean, you can virtually do anything. I mean, again, it depends on the kid's age, but if you have a parent that's willing to watch the kid while you do whatever you got to do, I have an actual awesome workout that kind of gets everybody ready. And how you do it is the first thing that you got to kind of do is do some of the old school stretches. Kind of get yourself ready to do some exercise. Don't just start running around and getting your muscles hot by doing that. I mean, a simple jog or, you know, simple.
Marching.
Yeah, anything where you're kind of invigorating the body and kind of replicating what you're going to do next is really good. You know, but other than that, I mean, anything. I got jumping jacks, cross jacks, where the same thing as jumping jacks, but you're crossing your hands and your feet diagonally. So it kind of makes it a little bit more aggressive.
Low jacks for those of us that can't jump.
There you go. Low jacks, prisoner squats. You know, dynamic hip flexion is where you're basically putting your hands on the ground and you're thrusting your hips up, kind of opening up the hip flexors. I mean, you're not even doing anything, but just doing that motion helps you open up your body because you don't have any resistance. You're just trying to use your body weight to help create that. So walking lunges is a great one. You always want to try to line up your whole body, though, when you're doing walking lunges. I see a lot of people get their knee in front of their foot, and it's so bad. You got to keep that back.
I know.
So keeping your shoulders lined with your hips as you walk forward, and you can do. I like to do walking lunges with stabilization, and what that is when you do a walking lunge, before you go right into your next step, you stand tall. And you just mentally prepare yourself. You just kind of take your time, and then you can continue through your walking lunges. And that really helps people, too, that are kind of not used to the consistent walk with a lunge motion,
Yeah,
because
it
it's
helps
very
them with the
different.
balance.
Yeah, absolutely. And stagger your steps. Don't try to walk like a catwalk with your feet right in front of the other.
Oh, I know.
Give yourself like maybe a
That's
foot or
so
two,
true. I always tell people, when you first start clients, it's funny you said that, because I literally had somebody the other day, she's not familiar with it. And so she kept losing her balance. And I noticed, I go, you don't have to step your feet directly in front of each other. You can go this way. It will actually help. And as you, play with that foot position, you can target different muscles. You can feel things a little differently. But it's funny you said that.
Yeah, just, increasing your stance so that your left and right stability is a little bit better. Invisible hurdles are another one that's great. How you do that is you think of a track. There's a hurdle there. I think every 4 feet you got a hurdle, 4 or 5 feet. So I try to run 10 steps, stop in my tracks, and I jump as high as I can, and I tuck my knees into my chest, and then I run again for 10 more steps.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so it's an invisible hurdle. I mean, you're basically trying to practice on jumping over something that's not really there. So as long as you can continually do that, you can do it for whatever distance you feel. Now, about halfway through that workout, you're going to want to kind of lightly stretch. Whether you're a pro or a Joe, it's always good to kind of open up, because that sand, the proprioception is a word that describes your body's awareness for where it is really, really strong, okay? So as you're running on the sand, your body's trying to figure out where to put your foot. So it's going to make your heels cramp up. It's going to make your calves, your shins, most likely your shins. And I just actually do an ankle alphabet. What I do is I draw the alphabet with my foot. And what that does, it helps open up all of those muscles that are associated with all the exercises you did.
I never even heard of that.
Yeah, I do it in the sauna all the time. All the time. So the next
That's
time you guys are
smart.
sitting there, you're watching TV, or you're doing what Carla's doing with
something
your
new.
legs
I'm like,
crossed, you got to draw the alphabet there.
Exactly. I'm like, I have to do that.
Yep.
I have
To
to
do
learn
that,
something
I
new
have
every
to try
day.
that.
Yep.
I'm
you
just
got,
doing it now under the
see,
table.
I'm telling you, it really
Oh,
helps.
that's cute. I have
And
to
those
remember
ranges
that.
of motion are going to be very unique for your foot, and it helps
You
stretch
go
you
all
out.
the way through?
Absolutely. Well, it's the alphabet, Alayna.
I know, but
And you
you
know
can
what, for-
start halfway.
And what's cute is for you parents is if you're doing that portion of it, walk back over to your kids and start saying the alphabet with them and have them tell you what letter to go to. Have them learn while you're stretching.
Oh, that's
Oh,
nice.
that's cute.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think that'd be really cool. High knees after that. That's
yeah.
actually where
High
you're
knees are
standing in one
great.
spot. You're jumping up in the air, and you're actually doing the one stage of the invisible hurdle.
Okay,
You're not
I
going to
have
run
but
afterward.
A lot of this for older people, they don't have to jump; they just have to lift their knees.
Yeah, I mean, if you're
You got to, modify it for
Absolutely.
what you can do.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing
Every-
if you're doing invisible hurdles and you can't run 10 steps and jump, simple jogs or a fast-paced walk with a
Oh,
Yeah,
with
see, I don't run anymore.
But
I
you know
have to
what?
be
If you're
careful.
older and you're doing the invisible hurdle, bringing your knee up and then pulling your knee with your arms into your chest will actually open up your low back.
Yeah.
So doing each of those in between your steps is kind of more of an active stretch.
Yeah.
Which is really good for
Yes. So I try not to do too much jumping
Mhm.
or running. I do everything low impact.
Well, and this next one, butt kicks, you're supposed to run and aggressively bring your heels behind you to slap your butt with your foot. If you're older and you can't get that type of range of motion as you run, putting your hand facing your partner or your wife or your husband and putting your hand on their shoulder and lifting each leg individually while you balance each other and kicking your glute like that is totally fine too,
Yeah.
because you're replicating the movement. You're just not getting the vigor of the run, which is fine.
Which
you're
is
80
fine.
years old.
Yeah,
you need to
you're
relax.
walking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just more concerned about staying loose. And
Yeah,
having
and making
mobility.
sure you don't have to pull out the AED in 10 minutes.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
all these exercises you can modify for whatever
Absolutely
age
you
or
can.
whatever fitness
doubt you can.
level you're at.
You sure can. You sure can.
There's no, well, there is right or wrong, but you want to do it properly so you don't get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all these exercises are basically just trying to get your body to adapt to different things.
Right.
And actually using the sand, whether you use the dense, hard sand of the water or you use the light sand that's up on the surface there, it's actually going to be really good for your body because it's different. And it's not used to it.
And it's hard.
And you'd be
It's very
surprised how
difficult.
much, 1 hour cardio sessions you do and how much training you do in the gym.
yeah.
You get out on the beach
And you try to
you
jog.
run and jog and do all this
Well,
stuff.
the
You're
air
gonna be
is
panting.
heavier too, and the salt. I mean, everything.
Yeah.
It changes your breathing
Yep.
so completely.
No doubt it does.
I mean, I don't run anymore like I used to when I was in high school. I was in cross country and track and all of that. But one of the big things I would do is whenever I go somewhere that had the beach, I would always go and jog on the beach. And I was somebody who could run 6, 7, 8 miles like it was nothing. You run a mile on the beach and you feel like you ran an uphill run for so
Yeah,
long.
1 mile feels like 4 miles.
Yeah, but what was great was like, especially, for us, we're susceptible to a lot of things like spraining an ankle or
Yep.
certain types of injuries like that. But when you're on the sand and stuff, it's nice because it absorbs a lot of the impact. But then also because of what Tim had mentioned earlier.
Proprioception.
Exactly. As far as your proprioception, your stabilizer muscles, those things are forced to work differently and
Yep.
they get stronger much, much more quickly and in a way that they normally wouldn't if you were running on a treadmill, running on a track, running on a flat surface, or or just a regular, even in a grassy hill or the ground. It's
Yep.
very, very different.
It's totally different.
Well, and the benefit of that is tenfold because as Carly gets done with her mile on the sand, she gets back on the hard surface of the concrete or the sidewalk, and she's like Roadrunner. I mean, it feels like nothing's underneath you. You're sprinting so
You're
fast
like, oh, this is
because
so easy.
you're like, oh my god,
I know you're just.
Well, and
just
that's another thing. I know we're talking about the beach, but one thing that I want to clear up too is that a lot of people ask me, they're like, "Oh, Tim, you've done all these marathons and running events. Do you ever run on the sidewalk? Do you ever run on the street? Like, I heard it's so bad for you." And you know what? It could be bad for you, and it could be good for you because, in a sense, your body's adapting to the surface that it's given. So if you're new to running and you start running and you're getting your body kind of used to it, your body will actually develop a way to be denser and harder and prevent you from getting injured on that. If you are already injured and you're trying to run even harder or get back into it, I wouldn't recommend or I wouldn't entitle you to running on the sidewalk only because it's one of the hardest surfaces to run on. So if you're clean and you're mean, go for it. Any surface is fine. But if you're trying to prevent injury, I highly recommend do not run on the sidewalk.
Do you have to really watch your shoes and your insoles?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's just like a
That's
car.
huge.
Yeah,
You have to watch your miles.
absolutely.
I have a little horrible piece of paper. It's crumbled up and whatever, but it has my miles on it that I just jot down really quick
Yeah.
and leave it there because usually, depending upon your running style, if you do a lot of long miles, you can get a good amount out of your shoes, like 350 miles. But if you are a little bit heavier set and you are running a lot and you're getting into it, I'd say about every 200 miles, 250, you want to change that up and you want to get a brand new pair of shoes.
Yeah, people
It's
don't
important.
realize that. They keep their shoes for 3 and 4 years when
Oh,
they work
Oh,
out.
yeah.
and then that's why they're getting injured.
And that's
as
why
well.
they're
Yeah.
getting injured. Shoes are so important.
And plus, when you get brand new shoes, endorphins flow that make you feel really good about yourself.
I know. I'm like, I love new shoes.
Yeah,
really.
Carla's definitely isolated that for sure.
I know.
I just don't like breaking in new shoes.
Oh, I know. Because
was
they
like,
feel like you shouldn't have bought
Yeah.
them. And then you go in the gym and you know what I do? I train in them a little bit.
Yeah,
My running
that's what I
shoes,
do.
I go to
I
sh-
break them. I start them out like walking and,
Yep.
and wear them for a few hours and then break them in a little bit.
Yeah, because I mean, you have to. A lot of the newer shoes too have memory foam, where it's
yeah.
very expensive, and it just has a little bit of time to kind of get used to the contour of your foot.
Break it in.
So, and also, if you're going to be running, try to look into what's called your pronation. Your pronation is the position of your foot on the ground when you strike, and what that means is, if you're running and you feel a lot of tension on the outside of your foot and into the knee, you're going to have what's called a positive pronation. Okay, negative pronation is where you feel it a lot more in your arch of your foot. You feel a lot more on the inside of your knee. So maybe you have either of those. Most people tend to have neutral. Neutral's where you land heel toe and you push off and you're good to go.
And if you end up with
shin splints means you're a baby and you need to push through it because your tibialis
or you're running on your toes.
Well, running on your toes is going to make it worse. Running on your toes is it's called plantar flexed. Plantar flexed position of the foot means that you're encouraging your peroneus muscle. Peroneus muscle is what encourages that push. Like when you push off your toe, that's what's associated with that.
When I was teaching running.
Yeah.
That took me the longest because I was in ballet, so I was
Yeah.
short.
Yeah.
So I always did everything on my toes.
Yep.
It was so hard for me to learn.
retrain the
Well,
body.
and what sucks too is that it's not that you're a sissy or that you're a weak suck and you can't do it right. It's that your body has types of muscles that take in certain amounts of oxygen and blood, and your gastrocnemius or your calf to everybody else has high blood flow, high oxygen. So you'll notice that you can do calf exercises all day long. You'll notice if you do standing calf rises where you choose something to balance on, anybody can do 30 to 100 no problem. Now if you put something on top of your foot, okay, like something that allows you to lift it as you do use the resistance, you'll get to about 8 to 10 and you'll conk out. So what I'm saying is that the tibialis has a low blood flow, low oxygen, and all it takes is a little bit of running to help your body adapt that and push through it. So, and then you get the first adaptation for running, lactic acid buffing.
Yeah.
It'll buff it, and you won't even feel it anymore.
Yeah, it
So
took a while to retrain my body.
I know. That's what sucks
That's the
too,
thing.
is you have to push through it, and most people are like, oh my God.
And they hate it, and they think it's going to stay forever and ever. but
No,
it's
you
not.
you have to push through it.
Self-myofascial release, which is SMR, all that's, if you see
yes.
people using foam rollers, that's what that's called. Massage therapy. Swedish is okay. It's kind of foo-foo. I would get like a muscle strip. It sucks, but it's
terrible,
so
but
good
it's so
for
good.
you.
And afterwards, like your muscle bellies are all full and beautiful.
Yeah, and
when
you
go
look
work
great,
out,
and
you're
you
like
feel good.
stronger.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys get a lot of massages?
Yeah, I get
Yes.
at least once a week.
Yeah. I'm
Otherwise, I
usually
fall
once-
apart.
3 to 4 times a month.
Yeah.
If I don't, my
Well,
body will get.
Well, and plus she trains high volume. I mean, if you train anything like I know you need to train,
Yes.
like she said, her exercises are compound. She's
Yeah.
doing an isolated exercise with a concentrated exercise with either a really heavy one next or a flexing one where she's stretching the muscle out. And that's to get the look that she has.
Yeah. Because for women especially.
Alayna's like, repeat that again because I want to look like Carla.
Yeah.
Well, it's true because
Yeah.
the one thing I tell women, I go, whether you look for a male trainer or a female trainer, just make sure that they understand the difference in working both of those types of bodies.
Yeah.
Because Tim, what I like about him is he's very, very intelligent. He's able to articulate things well, but he also has a good understanding of how to train. If somebody's an athlete, he's not going to train them the way he's going to train somebody he's preparing for a show.
No.
Just like somebody who's in a certain age range. And a common thing I deal with is what's funny is literally in the last 2 months, the majority of my clients have come to me from other trainers in the area. And a lot of them are women. And they're women who are like, I don't know, I was with my trainer for this many years. At first I lost weight. Now my body looks bulky and weird. I don't like the way it's looking anymore. And I go, well, how was your trainer training you? And it's very different, even for some women. Like, I mean, I have a little Filipino woman who's, 36 years old and she's 5 feet tall. But this woman is a powerhouse and her body responds to heavier weights and these crazy compound exercises. And I mean, it works really well. Whereas the majority of my women, for the most part, are similar to me, where it's circuit type trainings with moderate weights, nothing too heavy, but focusing on a contraction, higher rep ranges, 15 to 20 reps on average, 3 to 4 sets per exercise, and a few exercises back to back. And so it just kind of depends. But that's one thing I tell people is if you're going to hire a trainer in the summer, if you're a woman, doesn't matter if you choose a man or a woman, as long as they understand the difference between the two and vice versa. Just like a guy who's an athlete, if he goes and signs up for training with a woman who only knows how to do aerobic type workworkouts or has certain types of things, he's not going to get the results.
No.
It's about
That's how I
figuring out
got
what
some
works.
of my clients because their trainers either did things that got them injured or just didn't listen. I mean, the lady I'm training, she has really, really, really bad knees. And she was like in her 60s and they were making her do sprints.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that made no sense.
Yeah, you have to. There's so many different demographics, whether you're a professional athlete or you're doing corrective exercise therapy or you're doing performance enhancement or you're doing, special populations, little kids or older people. Stuff like that's so important too.
Yeah, you have to talk to your clients.
Yeah.
Yes.
And find out, what they like, what they don't
they
like,
want.
and then what they think you got to kind of go through what they really think and what's
It's
real.
so funny. That's like there's an acronym that NASM has for that, and it's I forget. It's basically just a subjective questionnaire, and they have a little acronym on what that's called and how you ask them questions, and how. You find out does someone want to lose weight or what do they want to do or what they don't like. And, you'd be surprised how many people say they don't like certain things, but they really love it.
Yeah, it's like,
You
well,
know.
I do want to do sit-ups. Oh, I hate sit-ups.
Yeah.
But then you just, those weren't so bad.
Yep. But it also takes I know we're kind of talking about training and trainers, but I think that if you're a trainer, your job is to create an environment that is fun and challenging and it makes your client want to come back the next day.
Yeah, it's like
I see so many trainers handing their clients ass to themselves, and some of them are old school and they kind of want it. That's kind of their persona. But to be honest, anybody can kind of hand someone's ass to themselves and make them feel weak. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Do they want to come back the next day and do that all over again? No. No one wants to do that.
No, you have to make it fun and
Exactly.
make them feel like they've got some, or you have to have them get something, or at least try to have them.
And that is 100% gender specific too. I will say that too. It depended upon when you have a client come in and it's a woman, she wants to feel strong. She doesn't care about. She doesn't actually care 100% about looking ripped. She wants to feel so ripped that no matter what she looks like, she feels 100% great.
Yeah. And they like that feeling.
They
like
love that.
to feel strong, feel
Yeah.
powerful, because as a woman, it empowers them.
If you can make them feel alive, they're
Their
never gonna
confidence,
leave.
everything.
They're never gonna leave. Men, you get a guy in there, you give him a good pump, you get him to lose his body fat into the single digits, and he will love you too, and he'll
Exactly.
never leave. And when he wakes up and he feels like crap, but he looks in the mirror and looks shredder, he's fine. He doesn't even care.
That's true.
It's true.
That's what's cool. It's unique. It's a blessing to know that much about psychology and fitness.
Yeah, it is both. You can't do one without the other.
Exactly.
All right, we got to end the show. I can't believe that 90 minutes have gone by. It seems like we
Well,
just
when you
sat
have this much
down.
fun.
I know.
It
This was
goes
a
so
really
quickly.
good show. All right, I'm going to ask you guys to give your final thoughts. What?
My final thought will be tell people, instead of just making a goal for a summer, try to focus so that next summer everything's perfect on maintaining year round and stay hydrated.
Absolutely.
one.
And I would say if you're trying to start anything, don't wait to start. Just do it immediately. And that discomfort is actually going to turn into your comfort, and it's actually going to empower you because you overcame something you didn't think you could do.
Very true. All right.
Just do it. Jump in the deep
do
end.
it. Yeah.
Jump in the deep
Don't
end.
wait.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, just do it if you've been thinking about
Why do you think Nike makes billions? Just do it, guys.
And if it's just starting, get outside and start walking. It's beautiful early in the morning, and
Hey, I'm telling
after
ya.
6 o'clock. If that, just do some movement.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Start with walking. Everybody can walk,
It's a progression.
and then from there you'll want
You
to
walk,
do
you
some,
jog, you run, you sprint, you jump, you climb.
You feel strong enough to go to a gym, or you find your own routine. There is. You can do a workout in your own backyard.
I think ultimately it's just feeling comfortable with yourself so that you can
Yeah.
walk around on this planet and feeling good. And that's it.
Yeah, and know that you're keeping your
Yeah.
body in the
Chin up,
best
chest
shape.
out, and butt out. Feeling good.
Shoulders up, yeah.
There it is.
And then
Perky
have
jerky.
food.
Yeah, and that's it. And have a good diet. It does not have to be perfect.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
know.
Universal law, 80-20. 80%
Exactly.
good, 20% chocolate.
Yeah, and whatever you do, don't just go on a binge app. If you mess up once, just take it for what it is, but don't take it
Yeah.
as
Get on,
Yeah,
get back to your regular diet the next
don't
day.
throw it all away.
If you ate a whole cake, just don't eat a whole cake tomorrow.
No, wait a month.
Yeah, exactly. Once a month.
Once a month. It's
Exactly.
always my rule. Once a month, you can really do something horrible.
Mine's more like twice a week, but that's just me,
I can't
guys.
do that. That won't work.
Elena's
All
like,
right. We gotta hang up.
No!
We gotta say goodbye. The next show is gonna come in at 2. So Indian Tyler will be here. Beyond the Vanity, she's amazing with her guests. So stay tuned. She's coming up at 2 o'clock. And next week's show still isn't totally put together, but it's going to be a great show. I don't want to say for sure who's coming because I think it's moving around a little bit in the universe.
Keeps us on our feet, Alayna.
Yeah, keeps us on our feet.
We love it.
Surprise
So
them.
everybody, get outside, get exercising, get moving. Do it as a family, have some picnics. I mean, there's tons of things. Even play badminton in your backyard. Anything
Wow,
to
I'm
keep
down for
moving.
that.
Yeah, it's just fun.
Can we play badminton and eat an entire cake at your house, Alayna?
Sure.
Awesome.
Anytime. All right, everybody, have a great week. I'll be back next Wednesday at noon Pacific time, and 2 o'clock is the Indian Tyler show. So stay tuned for her. Bye, everyone. Bye.
See ya.
Thank you for tuning in to LA Talk Live, reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we're more than just talk. Stay tuned.